Martha, how many of us are here?
It looks like we have Cindy, Deanie, John Noyes, Russ Todd, and Jeff Cooley.
Do we have a quorum?
We do have a quorum.
Do we need to identify one of the alternates to be a full member this period?
I don't think we do.
Okay. I think it would be Jeff. Sorry, Jeff.
Jeff is a regular member now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's fine.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Well, shall we call the meeting to order?
Sounds good.
And we've gone through quorum call. And shall we, are there any questions on the minutes for September or November? Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'm sorry,
John.
John, I'm sorry, the issue for the September minutes is still the same. I have a report on the work of the attorney. I could give that now, related to signage. I could give that now or wait until later in the agenda, whichever you like.
Why don't we do that now, and then let's separate the two, and let me ask first: are we okay for voting on the November minutes?
Yes.
Do I hear sounds of approval?
Second. I'll second.
I approve.
Aye.
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 The ayes have it. Now let's go to the question on the September. John, please give us an update.
Well, this, if you remember, is a question about whether the HDC has authority over style, frames, placement, etc., of any signs other than advertising signs, basically. Has to do with the wording of the statute. And Tim Griswold thought...
And the attorney is looking at that now?
Yeah, I was in touch with Jack Collins. Jack referred it to a partner of his named Michael... I'm blanking. I think it's McCallie or something like that. But his partner knows a lot about HDCs, argued a Connecticut Supreme Court case about an HDC issue. And I had thought he would have a report in before this meeting, but obviously not. So all I can tell you is that he's still working on it. And
well, there's no reason we can't.
Until that issue is clarified, I, for one, am reluctant to approve minutes that assert that we have authority that, depending on his findings, we may not have.
I'm perfectly comfortable waiting until that's resolved because it seems to be in the hands of the right lawyer and so forth, as well as your legal background.
Oh, my legal background's in an entirely different field, so...
All right. Does anyone else have a concern about us waiting on the September minutes? Okay. Shall we go to the public open forum, Martha?
Sure. Doesn't look like there's any participation.
Okay, so then let's go to the 2021 meeting schedule.
Yep. Did everybody receive a copy of the schedule?
Yep.
And we just need to, I just need a motion to approve.
I'm sorry, Martha, I thought I saw something sent out by Tim Griswold, which said that meetings had to be approved at least 30 days in advance.
Well, it has to be filed 30 days in advance.
But we're within 30 days of the January meeting date.
Well, I sent it to them on Friday just to make sure that we would be within the deadline. So the approval right now is just a formality.
That's fine. One of his other suggestions was that we add the January 2022 date.
Yes, I
just
did that.
in case.
I may
didn't-
not have sent the updated one with the January 2022 date out, but that's the one that I filed.
Okay,
Yep, so that we won't run into any kind of problem like this next year.
good.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. And thank you, John, for bringing up that point.
That's good.
We're now on the public hearing for the replacement windows. John, we're a little early, but I don't think you'd mind, do you?
Actually, we need to go over the budget.
Oh, okay.
So the proposal is that we basically keep the budget the same way, the same total amount, and just move $75 from postage to other
And
miscellaneous to bring that up to $400.
What now?
The proposal for the budget is to keep it the same for a 0% increase, but to simply move $75 from postage over to miscellaneous, which is the account that we pay our memberships out of.
Okay.
Because we very rarely use all of our postage account, but we tend to go over on the other one a little bit. So if we shift that a little bit, it'll be more in line with the way that we actually spend our money. But the bottom line is the same, and it's a 0% increase.
That's fine. Would you please give us your estimate of the number of hours that you work each year?
I would say I work between 12 and 15 hours a month. It's hard to, so you would have to do that.
That's 144 to 180.
Yes, yeah,
So if I take the 3,000 by 180, that means your salary is 1667 per hour.
approximately. Hmm.
Yeah. I would like to propose, first, I'm okay with this budget as stated, but I believe that for the quality of and the nature of the task that Martha performs, that it would be appropriate for us to raise that in next year's budget. And I just thought we're talking about budget. I thought I'd bring that up so that next year we're prepared. And I would personally propose it would be $18 per hour.
Okay.
And my example was that on Friday, Martha met with one of our very strong people from the Roger Tory Peterson Estuary Center, Kate Millard, and explained a number of the complications and terms and everything very clearly. And Kate wrote a very nice half-page memo complimenting how Martha was able to deal with her without any was able to dispatch her questions very quickly and very thoroughly and very pleasantly. And that's the kind of relationship we like to have with people like Kate and other people in the district. And I think that's why I'd like to propose that next year we move that up to $18 an hour and then budget around that when we come to that year's budget.
Yay, Martha.
Yep, I agree.
You.
Um, eh, John or anyone, Martha, I guess, how long has the budget been frozen? I mean, at some point, doesn't the town increase just because of inflation costs?
I think
Somebody's laughing.
it's been about 5 years since they increased the amount that they pay people who do basic minutes. That has basically stayed the same for quite a long time. They always, of course, the Board of Finance always likes to see just a 0% increase as much as possible to keep things under control. But our budget has been the same for probably 10 years,
Wow.
8 years, something like that. It's always the same, basically. Yeah, our
And the other
only
thing
variation
I've
is
noticed-
with advertising the public hearings.
The other thing I noticed is that given the fact that we have an active flow of certificates of appropriateness, which takes a lot more skill than taking minutes, and secondly, that you are the cornerstone of our plaque program, that therefore it's appropriate for you to have compensation above what they consider to be the basic minutes taking.
I
Mhm.
agree completely. Martha spends a lot of time researching for the Black program. Definitely.
Now, Martha, for this, will we need to develop a new job description?
I don't know that there ever really was a job description for this job. I'd have to really go back and investigate.
Well, instead of doing that, should we just create one? Should we?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, I think that may
Yep.
be. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to. I mean, is there someone here Is there someone on the board that is good at writing job descriptions? I
Maybe
guess
Martha.
that falls on. I guess I'm the what?
No, I was just going to say maybe Martha would be the best person to describe what she does.
Why don't we follow up what Deanie said? Unless John, did you have a point?
No, my only point was in asking about increases that if we do get a job description that shows the variety and depth of work that Martha does, then we could next year put in for an increase in the budget.
That's what I'd like to do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Let me say, I will, Martha, why don't you and I take your job description as a task so that we could present something at our January meeting.
Okay.
And what I would like to do is make sure that we have a block of time with maybe 20 minutes, let's say, so that everyone on the board has a chance to opine both in terms of what's in the job description and are we capturing it correctly.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay.
So we still do need to submit a budget to the Board of Finance by December 15th.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the budget as that Martha has put together?
So moved.
John, I'm confused. I thought we were talking about an increase for Martha for next year, or would it be for the year after next?
It's for the year after.
Okay.
I don't think we need to do some homework. So when we take this on, we've got our I's dotted and our T's crossed.
Understood.
Sounds good.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the budget that Martha has prepared for us. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The budget passes. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now we're to replacement windows. John?
Yes, it may be easiest if you look at the pictures. I can give a brief description of what we're proposing. The picture on, I believe, the upper left is of the existing storm windows, which there actually are a couple different types. A few of them are white, most of them are pitted aluminum at this point. And we're proposing to replace all the windows in the old part of the house, the tall part of the house, except for the bay windows with new Marvin windows. Those would be very similar to the picture you have on the upper right. Those Marvin windows, the picture was taken of a window in the new part of our house, which was put in about 6 years ago. The windows we can get for the old part are not 100% identical just because they've discontinued the model, but they're virtually identical. The width of the minions would be the same as on the original windows. And the basic problem is a typical one. We can't clean without getting up on a ladder the windows outside. As the house is settled, they don't all close, so we get cold air in. We'll get better insulation with the new windows. For the 3 bay windows, if you look at the picture on the bottom right, that's a picture of the front parlor windows right now. And we have through Tri-State Glass a solid storm window that's basically white aluminum. You can't really even detect it in that picture. And that's what we propose to put over the bay windows. That means the bay windows would not be open. Or, I mean, you could open them, but there's no screen. And that's in a nutshell. I can answer questions. I can leave the room if you want to talk about
I
it.
think, in my opinion, this is a perfect example of what anybody in the historic district area district should do when doing something to their house. A, do it right, and B, apply for the COA, and B, do it as thoroughly as this. So thank you, John. In my opinion, it's going to look great, and you're going to be warmer, which is really nice. So thank you.
I would second what Jeff has just said. And I also want to thank you for having a very clear package that we can look at.
I would move that we accept or that we approve or whatever. Yeah, that we approve the Noises plan for their window treatments.
Yeah, I second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
John,
I'm not
congratulations.
I'm not voting, but thank you all.
Yeah, now you can go spend all that money.
Yeah.
I approve Martha for John. You need it.
And when we drive by your house with your replacement windows, we can admire the thin mullions.
Go.
Shall we go to the next item? Martha, I think you might want to, or who can update us on if there's any update on the Lafayette Trail marker.
She's still not budging.
Is
Okay.
Martha cut off?
Oh, Cindy.
Yeah, Cindy,
Oh,
you
there
talked
you
to
are.
Marty,
She's not budging.
Nope.
not budget.
Okay.
That's not surprising. So do we want to vote on a final location for the marker that would be across the street instead of in front of her house?
It seems to me
I
we really
personally would
have
like
to
to
do
go
that.
on just so that, because I don't think we're ever going to get the Ames to budge. Martha Ames.
Right.
And we don't know
Marty.
that the house will sell. And we don't want to miss the opportunity to have the marker, I don't think.
No. I think the house and selling is going to wait for there's one person in the universe or 5 people in the universe that would love to have that house, but it may take time to find them.
Yeah.
Or for them to find the house.
Mm-hmm.
Do I hear, are there any other comments serious? I was a little lighthearted, but I think I'm serious about that point of view.
So
Do I hear a second?
do we want to say that the McCurdy Road, Lime Street location is the one that we want?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. Do I hear someone making a motion?
I just have a question first. Martha, does this need any clearance by the selectmen? We're just giving our endorsement, right?
Right.
What happens next after this, and what would be the time frame for that?
Right. So I let the Board of Selectmen know that we are considering this. And once we approve the location, then I personally think they should approve it also because it involves the town actually installing the marker. So Tim had a few suggestions. He suggested that we, maybe place it back where the bench is on the south green there. But I think when we looked at that location, it didn't appear to be really the best one. So I think what we do is we approve the location from our point of view and we let them know. And then they can weigh in on it. But I would say since it involves the town installing it and basically maintaining it, that, yeah, they do need to weigh in on it.
But
So
I
that
would
would be the
say,
next thing.
I would say one thing I would like to see us do, Martha, when you know that it's on the docket for the selectmen, is to notify all of us so that we've at least got 1 or 2 people attending that selectmen meeting.
Mhm.
Yep.
So we can
Yeah.
make the impassioned plea, which is appropriate because that's one of our responsibilities.
Right.
And if we feel like that for some reason it needs it, we can all have a separate meeting with Tim.
Right.
Have we seen, excuse me, maybe I've missed it. Have we seen the proposed wording, Carolyn, that you had worked on?
That's just what I was going to bring up, Deanie. I wondered if we needed to review that at the last meeting. I don't have it in front of me. I wasn't expecting to address it this morning, but John and I proposed 2 alternate inscriptions, text passages for the signage, depending on its location. And one of them took into consideration that the sign might be across the street. So I think we should probably just take a quick review of that, but I think everyone approved the alternate versions last week. I would take a look at it again to make sure that it seems appropriate.
Let's see.
Are you looking for the wording, Martha?
I am, yes.
Take your time.
Did you send the wording, Martha? Was it in an email from you?
I might have sent, I think I did send it out to people. Let's see.
Sorry, everybody, but I have another Zoom meeting at 9:30, so I'm about to jump off. So you can just let me know, or John can let me know if there's anything you'd like me to do regarding the text after this meeting. So I'll see you all in January. Have happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Let's see. I feel like I just saw that.
What roughly, do you remember what date it was, more or less? I see something on October 1st.
It was after October 19th. I can't put my hands on it either, but October 19th was when Carolyn said she would send it to Martha.
Yep, let me just see here.
Oh, is this a final narrative? Oh, no, that's,
I
no.
think that might be the
Yeah. Yep, no, that's that. You're right.
that survey. Let's see here.
I'm just not seeing
Oh,
it.
here it is.
No.
I found it.
Oh, you did.
It's on the attached picture that was sent with the agenda for November.
What date was that?
Oh shoot, come on.
November
That was Martha's email of October 30th.
Okay.
November 2 agenda, and it has Lafayette Trail pictures, but on the pictures is the proposed wording.
It
So
was
I can-
November, an October 30th email?
Yes. So it reads General Lafayette, comma, on his tour of America, comma, had breakfast here, comma, at Richard McCurdy's home, comma, on August 22, 1824. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the picture if it went in front. So the other picture is
Okay,
General
Yeah.
Lafayette en route to Boston stopped for breakfast across the road at Richard McCurdy's home on August 22, 1824.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see it, but that sounds good.
Yep.
Sure, it sounds very good to me.
okay, so we're approving that wording. I have it here actually on the photograph that I had held up to show everybody. It's actually right there. Okay, so with that wording, we can include that in the motion. So do we have a motion and a second for that?
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Who was the second? Was that
Doesn't matter.
Deanie,
Cindy? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 I think that's a good location. A lot of people will see it. That's a
Yeah.
that's a well-worn pathway.
Yep.
For walkers, really, more so than on the other side.
I agree. I think it's kind of a nice spot, and it may attract people to go over there, and it's
Mhm.
safe and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, so I will follow up with Julianne and other things that the town has to do to provide. So I will work with Tim on that too. So
On a just
know,
slightly amusing note, I was walking by the other day, and there were about 6 people clumped looking at Marty's house, taking pictures, reading things. I don't know. They might have been on the walking tour. So.
Well, one thing that we realize is we're now gathering more kind of marker information, and I would suspect that we'll soon want to add to our, our designate, any picture of the route, the location of various information signs.
right.
I organized a scavenger for some young people that were here over Thanksgiving. And we pretty much covered everything right in the district between the church and the town hall. So now we'll have an addition next year with the Lafayette marker.
Oh, great. Okay, shall we go to the Historic District GIS overlay? Russ?
Yes, John. So Martha and I received this morning some updated information from the town website people, AppGeo, about creating the overlay, and what they're recommending is to use the National Register of Historic Places GIS map as the starting point, in that it's already in a GIS format. In other words, they can use that map as the baseline and then upload that to our system in a private mode so that we can review the boundary on our map, but not in a public mode. I think what's important is that we take a look, and again, we just received this morning, but we take a look at the overlay that's in the National Department of the Interior GIS system, and we check that against, and Martha, correct me if I'm wrong here, but we check that against the town code 62-1, which has the legal definition of the historic district.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
That's how I understand it too.
Right. So that's the suggested process that the app Geo folks are recommending. And I would support that in that the boundary is already defined in a digital format, if you will, with the historic places, but it does need to be checked.
Okay.
Yep. I think the second point that is still open for discussion from the prior meeting was the whether or not we're interested in having information or data being able to pop up or reference to different buildings that are in the historic district overlay. And I think we started an open discussion, but maybe that should continue so that we can give instruction to the app Geo people as to whether or not we would like to have a pop-up or not.
If we have a pop-up, is that something that we can reserve a pop-up now, and then once we get once we get to a point where we want to populate it, we can manage that process so it's as the pop-up's completed, it can be brought to life, but we don't have to worry about pop-ups that are not of the same quality as the original pop-ups.
I think that's something we can ask.
Okay.
In other words, could it be built into the system, but turned on once populated and approved?
Mm-hmm.
But I think to me, on anything like that, maintaining a very high level of quality and user friendliness is extraordinarily important.
Yeah, it would be nice to have the option to keep adding to that in the future.
Yeah.
As we get more and more historic information on the properties.
I also think that as we're thinking about the pop-ups, and I'm not sure how we do this because this gets to be a contemporary thing, but there'll be places where, well, let's take the windows at the Noyes House. You know, when that is completed, you know, that's clearly in addition to the Noyes, the history of the Noyes property, here was something that they really continued that history with the design of the windows and so forth. And that really gets to the fact that in our historic district handbook, in the first or second paragraph, we talk about that the historic district is partly maintained by hundreds of little things. Now, your new windows are not a little thing, John, but I mean, they're characteristic of steps that maintain the granularity of the historic district.
It could be quite a job to track down that sort of information for all the houses in the historic district.
Well, we don't have to be 100%. Just as things come up, we can add them.
I see.
I mean, I would just simply say, I think if I look at the people on our board, we all have good knowledge of about 10 or 15 of the structures, you know, so we can start with our immediate database and then just gradually build it, you know, using information that Martha has or information that people come in and volunteer.
I think that would be
very. It
very.
doesn't have to be 100% coverage.
I'm assuming the pop-ups would also just include a paragraph or so of background about the building of the house, and like with the bee and thistle, that it used to be on the road and was moved back, and
right,
used to have a barn that was moved. I don't know what all you want along those lines.
Yeah. What I would suggest is, and I think this is something they did describe. I think the pop-up itself has kind of a limited text field. So I don't believe the pop-up would the visual pop-up would have a full narrative description, let's say. But I think it's possible that it could have a link
Mhm.
to
Okay.
a database, perhaps. And that's something Martha, I think we should ask. But
Yeah.
perhaps there's a link to a database which would have the more comprehensive text, perhaps.
Now, for
Yeah, it
our
could
house,
even have property research details in it, all kinds of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would,
for
Even
our
links,
house,
links to
one of
the
the delightful
articles.
things is the man's name, and secondly, he was the town drunk. So the rest of you can have famous people, and we'll have the town drunk.
Well, it sounds like we have a few questions there. Any more comments on this?
So I think congratulations to both of you, in terms of what you're doing on this project. It's going to be extraordinarily interesting.
That was great.
Are we ready to go to our next item, which keeps reoccurring? John?
oh, the banner frame.
Yes.
Well, this is essentially the report that I gave at the outset of the meeting, to the effect
Okay.
that I'm not sure Deborah was here, but at the time, but very, very, very briefly, I was in touch with Jack Collins, the town attorney. I was in touch with him about this question of whether our authority includes authority over signs other than advertising signs, basically. And he referred it to a partner who's an expert in HDC work, and I have emailed with and spoken with that partner. I was hoping for an answer today or an opinion, but I don't have anything. So all I can report is that someone is working on the question.
So we can continue that to January then.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, John. Martha, on your secretary's report, where did you see? I know you sent us the like for like form,
Yes.
but I can't find it. Oh, here it is. I've got it. December 6th. Okay. Sorry.
I thought it was very clear.
Martha,
Very good.
Martha, just to go back to the other, I'm wondering if in the minutes you could just, I'm not sure exactly what product we're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could suggest just keeping it general at this point.
Okay.
I'm not sure we even want to refer to a legal opinion. I know they're working on it. I just don't know exactly what we're going to get. So if you can just in general say that I've made some inquiries and a response is still pending or something like that.
Okay.
Because
That's fine.
if this opinion comes down, if that's what we're going to receive, I don't know what we're going to receive, but if this comes down, then it sort of overrules or overrides something that large numbers of HDCs have, believed that they had jurisdiction over. So that's going to require some changes on the level of SHPO.
Well, that's correct, Deanie. And in fact, when I did talk to this Michael, I can look up his name if you need it, but I'm just blanking on it. Yeah, one of his early comments was Well, this this would go against what a lot of towns thought they had the authority to do. It's not as though we've been doing something that other towns have not been doing.
Right. No, it's widespread. It's written all over the place. So, yeah.
It may ultimately be an issue that the state legislature needs to address, but there's got to be some difference between wording that was set that says the authority has the HDCs have authority over the form, structure, placement, et cetera, of signs, period, and language, which is what we have currently in the statutes. It says the HDC has authority over form, frames, placement, et cetera, of advertising signs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that word advertising, you can't read it out of the statute. I wouldn't think.
I thought the word that you found concerning was bill poster.
It has both. It has advertising signs or bill posters.
So the question is really, what's a bill poster? Yeah.
No, I think the question is whether that limiting, well, that is one of the questions. I think the other question, the more fundamental question, is whether there's any way to read the statute to give us authority over, again, not content, but placements, frames, et cetera, of all signs. If we just have authority over advertising signs and bill posters, it would seem to me we do not have authority over social justice signs.
It's interesting, when I first moved into the district, I was told actually by a local politician that it had been a longstanding, I guess he said gentleman's agreement was the word he might have used, to say that people don't put up political signs in the historic district.
Yep.
And I just took it on face value. It's like, okay, people don't put up political signs in the historic district. But this is really part of it, I suppose.
Well, I remember in 2008, I believe it was the 2008, when I was running Tim Griswold's campaign. I was driving down the street, and a bevy of Democrats were jumping up and down with signs for Bonnie Reimsnyder. And I reminded them that was against the rules, and they all put their signs away. And someone, Tim, wanted to put a little banner sign out someplace, and they reminded me, and we took that down. So it was a very active and very effective gentleman's agreement, or
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen's agreement.
Right,
Sorry.
ladies and gentlemen, right.
I mean,
Okay.
anyway.
Shall we go on to the next? Any more on that point? Thank you, John, again. The like for like certificate, which you sent out, which I found. Thank you, Martha.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very complete form.
It looks good.
Yeah, I thought it looked great.
I copied it from the Nantucket form,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, I love to have the specificity because it touches on many of the issues that we're dealing with.
I did, Martha, thank you. It is very complete. I do have two substantive comments and then
Mhm.
a bunch of little stylistic suggestions or ideas.
Sure.
The substantive points, in the second paragraph, the issue with signage is the same as we were just talking about. We say a C of A is required for signage generally.
Mhm.
And even if we have authority over all signs, well, okay, so that's one point. The second point is in the last I'm sorry, 3 points. I'm wondering in the third paragraph whether the C of A form should be attached to this, whether we should have a 3-page posting as well as making it available on the web page.
Mhm.
I just think, it's so convenient for somebody to read this and say, oh, I've got a like for like issue and just turn it over and there it is. But it would be equally convenient for someone who looks at this and says, oh, I have a C of A issue and had it right there.
Yep.
My third point is that I find the first sentence in the last paragraph on that first page a bit confusing. And it's confusing.
Would you read what sentence you're really referring to?
Yeah, a C of A is not required for repair or replacement. Do you all have it, or do I need to read it?
No.
Should I read it?
Yes.
A C of A is not required for repair or replacement of previously existing features when the new is the same as the old with respect to form, size, material, and lettering on signs, like for like, or for paint colors. And I find it a bit confusing. I mean, I don't, but I think someone new to this might find it confusing for two reasons. The first is I'm not sure I would put paint colors in a sentence that's about like for like.
Okay.
So I might make that into 2 sentences. They say a C of A is not required for paint colors, and then maybe put in, but the HDC is happy to consult with you, and then have the next sentence be about like for like.
Okay.
When you get into that issue, is it only lettering on signs? And again, which signs? I mean, there could be lettering on a sculpture. There could be lettering on a gate post, with the street address. So maybe lettering just needs to be left general rather than saying on signs, or say and any lettering or something like that. I'm also wondering whether don't we also have authority over placement? This just says
yes.
Because in other words, if somebody says, oh, I'm doing the same fence, but they want to move it forward a foot or two, we should have authority over that.
Right.
Are you following? It's not just form, size, material and lettering. It's form, size, material, placement, and lettering.
Yeah.
Have to be identified.
Wouldn't you want to add that on the next page, John?
I would think it should also be added on the next page.
Yeah, to say location.
I think I think those are my 3 substantive comments about signage, about just having the C of A attached to this form as well as on the web page, and about that reworking that sentence in the last paragraph. I do also have a lot of stylistic little suggestions, but I could just pass those along separately if you want, or people can listen to me talking about capital letters.
Yeah, you can. No, I'm open to whatever you have to say about that. I just kind of winged it.
No, it's great. So I should go ahead with the more detailed comments.
Yeah, sure.
In the title, guidelines for certificate of appropriateness and like for like exceptions. I mean, something in the title that indicates
Oh, okay.
what
Yeah.
that is, maybe.
Yeah.
In the second paragraph where you're listing all of the things the C of A is required for,
Mhm.
I don't understand why some begin with a capital letter and some do not.
Yeah, because you know why? Because I had them all in a kind of a run-on sentence, and then I bulleted them, and I didn't capitalize everything when I did that.
Okay.
But I can definitely make that consistent.
In the paragraph after that, second line, there should be a comma after hearing.
Uh-huh. Yep.
In that paragraph, town hall is capitalized. It's not capitalized in the last paragraph. And in the next to last line on the page, I would capitalize commissions. Since you're referring to specific commission. Also in the top paragraph, it should be like for like period, quote, rather than quote period.
Yeah.
John, while you're on the Historic District Commission, you ought to put parentheses HDC in the first paragraph, Martha.
Terrence, yeah. Oh,
you spelled it out there, and then just say you're going to use in the rest of the memo. You're going to use HDC instead of Historic District Commission.
Okay. Yeah, got that.
And then I on the form itself, I'm not sure. Again, why some of the details are capitalized with colons and some are not. In other words, you've got capitals for gate, and then below it, you don't have capitals for foundation.
Yeah, let's see.
This is sort of in the middle of the page.
Foundation. Oh, I see. Yep, I see how some of it's in all caps and some of it's not.
And some have colons and some don't.
Yep, yep. So I'll just make everything consistent as far as capitalization, punctuation.
Right. And then I didn't look closely, but you have, and do you want to try to capture in your description of replacement work all of the categories that are on the first page? I mean, for example, you've got exterior lighting on the
Oh, yeah, that's
first
a good
page,
point.
but not on the second. So you might want to compare the list on the first page to the list on the second page.
Yep, good point.
And that's it.
Good. No, I appreciate your comments there. Good. So I will rework this a little bit and send it to everybody so you can take a look at it.
Thank you.
And I like the addition of the C of A form too, so that it's one whole packet.
Martha, one thing that would be helpful, you know, we have two Michelles now in the head office. One's been around forever and one's new.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to, at some point when you're just there with the various forms and everything, talk to new Michelle. So, you know, she's very helpful, and the two of them kind of work back and forth. So if one's out to lunch and everything, they're covered. But it would help if you just spend a couple minutes with new Martha so that she knows where all the forms are and which ones are appropriate.
Okay. Yep. Good point.
Your job description is growing.
You can add working with the Michelles to your job description.
The 2L Michelle and the 1L Michelle. That's how we tell them the difference. They spell their names slightly differently.
Oh, they do? Okay, I didn't realize that. Well, fortunately, they're both nice people.
Yes.
So do you want to go to the annual town report?
Yeah, I sent that in to Michelle Dickey. There's another Michelle. Yep, Cindy looked it over, and it's basically just an outline of everything that we did in the last fiscal year. Considerably less than usual because of the lockdown and shutdown.
Yeah.
But
Does that give us room for a nice picture?
I think they have pictures if somebody has them.
Okay.
I think I was talking to someone and they said that Michelle asked them for pictures of people in a meeting wearing masks or something, but they did not want to provide that.
Okay.
And
all right.
if you look at the town report once it's published, you may see some pictures like that in there.
Okay. Anything new on the plaque program?
I did actually get into the land records to do a little bit of work on Nancy Lucas's house, which is that little house sort of behind the Fairlawn's house. It used to, I think originally it was a carriage house for that house.
Right.
Back in the 20s. And then I reached a dead end. So I'll be going back to the land records sometime this week to see what else I can find out. The rumor is that it was built in the early 1900s. But we'll see what we can find in the land records. It should all be in old line, which is nice. There's nothing else new on the plaque program besides that.
Okay.
I did get in touch with New Michelle regarding the that historic survey, the inventory survey that was done a few years ago. And it is in the selectman's office. It's 4 volumes. And it can be borrowed if somebody really wants to look through it. But she also sent me basically a 200-page overview of it, which I can send out to anybody who's interested. And that is that's in a digital format.
I would like to see that, please.
Okay, I'll send that to you.
Yes, I'd like to see it as well.
Okay.
Thanks.
And Russ, there may be some information in there that would be helpful with your work.
Exactly. So Martha, please send Me as well. Yeah.
Okay, I'll send it out to everybody.
You know, not today, but we may, once we all have a chance to look at it, have add an agenda item in the next couple, maybe 2 months out, of saying, is there something about this program, about the data gathered in terms of the buildings that are in the historic district, which we'd want to leverage in terms of adding granular richness to the discussion of what's in the historic district. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just saying that that would be a potential use for that. Martha, is there anything else there, or should we go to our next item?
Only other thing that I have is for our active or still open C of A's, we still have the 38 Lime Street renovations. That's the little house next to the Fairfield Songs.
Right.
That's been raised up a little bit. They're still working on that. The Library Lane library project has been finished pretty much. And the sculpture, the Gilboro sculpture that's temporarily in the front is going to be moved into the back of the library, and it will not be visible from Lime Street.
Now, will it be seen by surrounding neighbors?
Yeah. I'm in touch with Kirsten, who's on the Kirsten Sikaranza. She's on the board, and that the Gilboro sculpture relocation, they don't have a time frame for that yet. Very much about that.
Well, now, is that something, because, you know, one of the nice things about that is that every time they've moved it, there've been, neighbors have been notified one way or the other, that you'd want to have a discussion of that, so the neighbors that might see it have a chance to voice their position.
Mm-hmm. I'll let her know that.
Okay, and I think that this would be a good use of the historic district as kind of the convener of that discussion.
But we don't
first time-
we don't have any authority over it, though, correct? Because you can't see it.
No, that's why I called us a convener, not a.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
That's why I used the word convener on purpose, Deanie.
Yeah.
Does our authority just say that we have authority? How far back from the road is it? So many feet?
It's 300
300
feet.
feet.
300.
Does it say we only have authority over things that are visible?
No, nothing on visibility.
So why would we not have authority over something in the back?
I think if it's within the 300 feet from the center of Lime Street, we do have authority. Usually if it's not visible, we don't really worry about it. Like if somebody changed something on the back of their house and you couldn't see it from anywhere, I think we've never really pursued that.
It's just, I mean, it may be a question of why it's not visible. If it's because it's
Yeah.
blocked by shrubs, those could die or come down. If it's
Right.
behind a structure that's permanent, then yeah, then the point is, why would we care?
Right, right.
Well, the point
That-
the point I'm making is that the library, this is a sculpture that's not the most popular sculpture in town.
Yes.
And so they keep moving it and they're going to tuck it. They think they're going to tuck it back, but does that mean it was visible one time? They've escaped the historic district and found a place that still is seen from people living on the historic district.
Yes,
We've
and
never
again,
had this before.
if our authority doesn't include a visibility limitation from the street, then
But that's why I call this a convener, John, is that I don't think we have authority, but that doesn't mean we can't be the convene a discussion on this issue.
I guess I take your point, John. I just don't see why we wouldn't have authority if it's within 300 feet.
Well, we don't know whether it's going to be within 300 feet or not, so that's the question.
Okay. Yeah, good point.
I agree with you. If we knew there was a magical line, and that would simplify our discussion. Which Russ is going to be able to help us on that.
300 feet. Right.
You know, Ben Franklin had the first major road up to New England, and it's called the Lincoln Highway or something. The Franklin Highway. We can have the Russ Todd line now that's going to be drawn.
Oh no! Please don't.
We'll call it the Todd line for sure.
Are there any other items that we'd like to bring up before the commission? With that, I would like to, before we close, I would like to thank again, but I think it's very appropriate, the excellent discussion that John Noyes provided for his windows, and the fact that he also has pictures that we can use, if you don't mind, John, to show other people what we mean by good Marvin windows.
It's fine. It's fine. It's out there in a public hearing, so you're
okay.
Welcome to use it if it helps.
I think it's going to really be helpful when we have people that are new to the town, so we can say this is the kind of window that we're talking about.
Right.
Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm old-fashioned in that regard, or holiday season, and it's been a pleasure of working with you the last year, and we all look forward to a great next year.
Great.
Well, right back at you, John. Thank you.
Thanks. Same. Have a wonderful
Bye.
holiday.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Merry Christmas.
The end.